Hi there. Welcome to Ask Comfort segment. Valentina Aye from Suyai also wants to know, how can I effectively manage my time and prioritize tasks?
Hi, and thank you for that question, Valentina. It's a very interesting question, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to talk about it. This is one thing that I learned from Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I encourage people to go and read that book. Actually, when Valentina asked the question, I actually went and said, and I was wondering, where is my copy? It's very good. Now, he goes through 7 habits, and then in his habit 3, he talks about how to prioritize. He talks about doing first things first. Now, in that space, he draws up a time management framework whereby he talks about things that are important, not urgent, things that are urgent but not important. And so in the end, we have 4 quadrants. And I hope they can put it up right now for you to see. You have 4 quadrants where you have on the left side, you can see not important and then important. On the is that the x-axis, and on the y-axis, urgent and not urgent. Now, if you mix the two, you would have urgent and important. So that is where you talk about crisis. You have emergency. You have pressing problems. You have urgent, and you have important but not urgent. So that is also the second quadrant. You have the third quadrant is not important but urgent. So what will happen is you see that under the first quadrant, after the first quadrant, you see that you have emergencies, or let's say your exams. If you're like some people that I know, you have waited and waited and waited. It's a day to the exams. Then you now say, hey, I haven't learned for my thing. Oh, what should I do? And then you sit up all night. You've created an unnecessary emergency, but really you didn't need to if you had taken your time to focus. So that's the quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is where you have to focus, where you have the strategy, where you plan, you work towards your goal. You decide that based on who you are, what are the important things in my life that I have to work towards. And you look at your life and you look, maybe you're a student or maybe you're a worker, but then you are a manager. So the managing is part of your work that you have to think about. But then you are a pastor as well. So you need to think about your church. And then somewhere along the line, you play Scrabble, So those are things that you need to focus on. It's not urgent, but they are important because that's what makes your life tick. Yeah. And then quadrant 3, you have things like people calling unnecessary times of the day, telling you things that you don't. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Or somebody calls and says, oh, I'm so sorry, I need this, I need it urgently. It is somebody else's urgency. It is not yours at all. So please don't take that emergency and make it your priority. Yeah. It is important. It's not important, it's urgent. Is it your urgency or somebody else's? Or some emails. And then finally, the time wasters. The way sometimes we like to be on Facebook without thinking, or social media. We spend so much time, going through unnecessary distractions. Those that they don't make anything that is worthwhile. So please, you have the urgent, you have the not urgent, you have the ones that you have to avoid, and the things that you must limit. Now, what you must do is that, my friend, find out what are my. So first, before you even start this planning thing, first you have to find yourself, what do I want to achieve? So that must be your focus. And based on that focus, at the beginning of every week, or maybe at the end of every week, you come to yourself and say, okay, when I look at myself, I have 5 main areas I would like to focus on. What are the big things that if I do this week, it will really help push my agenda of being maybe leaving a legacy for the next generation, or being able to close that contract in the right time. So first, if we look at my table today, you find we have rocks here. We have some pebbles here. So the rocks are the focus, the quadrant 2 stuff. So the rocks are the quadrant 2, which we must focus on. I'll say these pebbles are the ones that we need to manage. We have to make sure that they don't become emergencies. So you have to study in time for your exam. You have to maybe that phone call that you have been postponing for the past 5 years. You have to make it before the person calls and says that if I don't get what I want in 2 hours time, I'm canceling my contract with you. And that's $1 billion contract. So if you take these stones, these are the priorities, the ones that talk to you about what you want to achieve in your life. This is what, if you are able to push, you can say that at the end of your life, I had a very productive life. So this is a weekly process. Take these weekly things and put them in your week first. So I have to make this important phone call on Tuesday. However, the one that's the proposal must be sent on Friday. So by Monday, it should be ready. I give it to my boss for him or her to look through. So you fill your week with the important things first. They're not urgent, but important things first. Now, based on that, you now have, I mean, it seems like your week is full, but because these ones are very small, they are, let's say you are there and then your daughter is sick. It's an emergency. Yeah. You can't say that because I have rocks to do, I will not deal with that emergency. So you still have time for that. So you have this, and you can see that they are filling around they are going around the rocks. So you are able to fill your life with the things that are an emergency but not important. You are filling your life with the things that are you know, an emergency. They are important, but they are not urgent. So you can see that, you know, I've been able to fill more than half of the rocks because I made the right things first. I focused on the right things first, right? So we are able to fill our lives, and we have all these things well under control, ensuring that our lives, we are able to take care of genuine emergencies. If we have any upcoming exams or we have some projects that are on a deadline, we are able to do that. And so let's say we had the sand. The sand is the interruptions, the emails, some things that, you know, now you have enough time and you can now pour the sand into it. So you pour the sand. Unfortunately, we have a little unavoidable issue with the sand. So just imagine that we've been able to pour it. Now you can make time and go on social media. Yeah. And you know, and type that emoji to that funny question that guy put there or something. But you don't waste your time 2 hours, 3 hours and there. So this is social media. The water is social media. So we pour the social media stuff in there. And you can imagine, if it even includes having tea with your friends, you know, going to jam, because jamming is important, you know. Absolutely. So that party that you wanted to go, you've been able to arrange your life so well that you are able to. So whenever you take your week, start the week and say, what do I want to achieve this week? What are the rocks in my life that I need to put into my life? And let that be the thing that would lead. And then once you prioritize that, you then set what are the things that, you know, the little emergencies that come on, you can put them in. The sand, you put it in. You put in and you would have a very fulfilling life. I hope I've been able to answer your question. The one and only Visesia. This is very, very nice. Thank you very much.